Hello, this is Haku the Bean, and today we are going to be reading SCP-629, also known as Mr. Brass. If you like this video, please leave a like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Now let's get right into this. Notice from the Foundation Records and Information and Security Administration, or RISA. The anomaly hereafter described is no longer an SCP object, and thus requires no special containment procedures. The following information is retained in SCP format for convenience, but the file is transferred to a more permanent format. Thank you for your understanding. Item number SCP-629. Description: SCP-629 is a 176 centimeter tall masculine humanoid made entirely of bronze, stylized as a middle-aged man with a beard, button-down shirt, tie, jeans, shoes, jacket, and beanie. Subtle seams separate SCP-629's body into 6 component parts: the legs, the arms, the torso, and the head. When SCP-629 was originally recovered, vibrating paints covered its body, but these have since worn off. The words Mr. Brass from Little Misters by Dr. Wondertainment, also known as Group Interest 386, have been embossed into SCP-629's back. Despite the rigidity of bronze and seeming lack of mechanization, SCP-629 is capable of ambulation and articulation, which also produces mechanical clicking and whirring sounds. SCP-629 is also sapient and capable of speech, which produces CO2, water vapor, and trace amounts of lung cells. DNA analysis has found no known matches. But samples variably contain 6 different genetic signatures belonging to 2 biological females and 4 males. 3 of these signatures have been found to contain genetic diseases with high infant mortality rates. SCP-629 is typically cooperative with questioning and testing, but not amicable. Initial interviews were on the subject of the Little Misters. Group Interest 386-1. A children's band that first appeared on February 16, 1981, with the release of a self-titled album. SCP-629 withheld on information until its demands for consistent reading material and daily scheduled time outdoors were met. Seeing as SCP-629 holds no known anomalous capabilities that could possibly result in destruction of facilities, personnel fatalities, or escape, SCP-629 has been granted these requested allowances. Recovery. In 1988, Project Whimsy, headed by Dr. Everwood and Group Interest S386 Research and Investigation Department, made a breakthrough in subverting Dr. Entertainment's antimemetic properties. These properties prevented certain information on the organization from being learnable by adults, seeming to target mentalities instead of specific ages, but tending towards allowing the innocent and childish to gain knowledge, and disallowing the cold and jaded. Further details of Project Whimsy are restricted to personnel of 3 Group of Interest 386 X clearance and above. Through Project Whimsy, Group of Interest 386 R&I discovered a flyer for a Little Misters concert, set to occur within the month on February 28, 1988, at a Cogwork Orthodox Church. Group of Interest 004B, and hosted Dream Venue. Notably, it was later discovered through interviews that Cogwork Orthodox Church had hosted venues for the Little Misters due to their interest in SCP-629. The flyer invited any child who found it had to put the flower under their pillow and dream of flying away. Operation Here Now was quickly put together to intercept this concert, as it was a sizable threat to the Veil. Careful monitoring of a sleeping child who had put the flyer under a pillow on the night of the concert revealed a secret astral way. A selective astral way. A selective way is a way in which a way requires specific traits of the instrument to function properly. An astral way is a way which may only be traversed by metaphysical egos. However, the way was improperly guarded, most likely due to Dr. Entertainment's assurance that it would not be discovered. After 2 hours, the way was widened to be general instead of selective, allowing the passage of MTF Omicron on Rho, the Dream Team. After a conflict that remained unrecorded due to, at the time, underdeveloped dream traversing technology, all 10 children were forced back through their respective ways and amnesticized. An MTF Omicron on Rho returned bearing SCP-629 Ein's metaphysical ego, withheld from returning to its physical self. All other members of the Little Misters apparently escaped. With Operation Here Now a success, Group Interest R&I began a correspondence with the Oniric Research Department in Site-55 with the goal of using SCP-629's metaphysical ego to locate its physical self. However, before this could be accomplished, SCP-629's physical self appeared within the hallway of Site-55, under the blind spot of a camera on March 4, 1988. Initial containment was established on SCP-629's physical self and metaphysical ego were reunited on March 10, 1988. The Little Misters didn't release another album until 4 months after 629's acquisition. Glub Glub, an album focusing mostly on Mr. Soap. Person of Interest 386-113. Teaching children proper hygiene techniques. Nearly having halving the speed of their usual output. However, after this one delay, the Little Misters appeared to proceed as normal, even slightly increasing their output to release their usual 6 albums by the end of the year. Notably, their music no longer included any brass instruments, which their prior album had. The observation was held true up until the present, with the notable exception of the use of trumpets on the last track of their most recent album. There also emerged a lyrical motif in which words ending with "as" were followed by instruments where a rhyme would usually occur. For example, the song Arc Day Off of the album Step Outside and Smile. I can feel the feeling in my soul of the new day. They will fill up the sky, and the sun will shine and bright on the young and the old, and it makes me so happy I feel I could cry. I remember a man who ran fingers through grass. Instrumental. Park Day. Chorus ensues. These unresolved rhymes are most often sung by Dr. Chameleon, person of interest 386-103, who otherwise is neither a singer nor an instrumentalist, and instead performs dances and visual effects. Interviews with SCP-629 have revealed that Mr. Chameleon was SCP-629's closest friend among the Little Misters. No explicit references to SCP-629 were made in any media produced by the Little Misters, though there are other potentially implicit references in their songs from the era between SCP-629's acquisition and 1999. In 1999, the current POI 386 Prime, Dr. Cornelius is Music Entertainment, Person of Interest 386 Prime O2, died unexpectedly of unknown causes. Greater correspondence with Dr. Entertainment has still failed to elucidate the circumstances of Dr. C.M. Entertainment's death. Yeah, please don't make me say that name again. In his will, he named a holy light as his successor, who then became the new Person of Interest 386 Prime, inheriting SCP Redacted, the title of Dr. Entertainment. The Little Misters' behavior began to change soon after his development, beginning with a year-long hiatus in which they created no music or merchandise. In 2000, Group GUI 386R I received the following letter or bridge here for ease of reading. January 15th, 2000, from the desk of the greatest gourmand of bonbons. Dear SCP Foundation, it has come time for us to address your possession of one of the Little Misters, a registered Doctor of Entertainment intellectual property. Our band has been missing one of its cornerstone members for over a decade, and my predecessor did not have the resources nor time to dedicate to recovering Mr. Brass. Throughout our conflicts in the past, the Doctor of Entertainment Company and the Foundation have largely avoided physical confrontation. We would like to keep that rapport, so instead of threats, I would like to propose a trade. Dr. H.L. Entertainment. The letter went on to describe a trade offer of information on some of Dr. Entertainment's operations and inner workings in exchange for SCP-629 and several other Dr. Entertainment-related anomalies contained by the SCP Foundation, restricted to personnel of 3 GOI 386 clearance and above. A correspondence between GOI 386 RNI and the OPAP Council led to a vote on whether or not to take the deal as offered or to propose change it. The vote eventually led to a change of terms, which were then sent back to Dr. Entertainment via a method described in the letter. However, Dr. Entertainment never responded, even once a follow-up letter was sent. No further attempts at communication have been made. On April 21st, 2000, the Little Misters released the album Imagining New Colors, which deviated from their usual formulas, signifying both in genre and subject matter. While there were hints and references to their status as a children's band, the album also explored more existential themes, such as the status of being an artificially created being, as in the song Shot Like a Cannonball, and questioning their fulfillment doing what they're presumably created to do, as in the song Baseline. The album also omitted any promotion of Dr. Entertainment products, as was typical in previous albums. Imagining New Colors also include their first ever instrumental track thought to be in reference to SCP-629, titled Unsung Hero. This song featured a pentatonic motif that Little Misters would proceed to write into at least one song on every subsequent album. In an interview at the Dear College Odyssey, an anomalous publication in the Nexus of Three Portlands, Mr. Life, Person of Interest, as 386-120, called the motif the glass motif, but refused elaboration. After the release of this album, the Little Misters entered a period of infrequent activity, performing in only 3 concerts and releasing 4 albums between 2000 and 2002, none of which were aimed towards their usual demographic. However, on June 30th, 2002, hey, I turned 2 on that exact day, the Little Misters released another children's album entitled Mr. Moon and Woods to Planets, which combined their education and oriented an earlier style with their new pattern of weaving a single story throughout the songs. The album followed Mr. Moon, Person of Interest 386-110, as he fell in love with each astral body of the solar system, which were played by various other members of the Little Misters, working from Pluto inwards and ending with the sun. In this album, the glass motif was used in the song Mercury, accompanied by lyrics of Mr. Moon lamenting that Mercury disappeared behind the heat of the sun, but might someday come back, which transitions into the final song, The Sun! By way of his focus becoming distracted by the object between them. Following this release, the Little Misters resumed their pattern of releasing an album every other month. However, only every other album released was a children's album, and the remainder were more experimental and existential. This pattern continues at the time of writing. This pattern still holds true even after current events. Don't we already have them all contained though? In 2018, the Little Misters made their first explicit mention of SCP-629 at a show during Rock Against the Foundations, an anti-Foundation music festival put on by a large serpent's hand GOI 8019 subsect with ties to the Slavic and art scene. During the performance, Mr. Red Jr., Person of Interest 386-101, exclaimed, "This one is for brass," before the band played a faster and longer rendition of Unsung Hero. The Little Misters set ended with Mr. Red Jr. saying, "To Mr. Brass, we love you, we miss you, we're coming to get you." Despite this statement, the Little Misters have made no known attempts to reclaim SCP-629. New Group of Interest 386 Relations and Impact on SCP-629 Containment. On June 18, 2042, the O5 Council unanimously accepted a more cooperative relationship as proposed by Dr. Entertainment, the details of which are restricted to personnel of 3 GOI 386 clearance and above. The effects of this new relationship on containment are ongoing and have resulted in many newly non-SCP objects continuing to be classified as such until the Records and Information Security Administration can move these files into a new format. SCP-629 is one such object. Mr. Brass, Person of Interest 386-121, previously SCP-629, has been released to the Little Misters after being anesthetized of any classified information he may have gathered while in Foundation custody. Recorded below is a final interview conducted before Mr. Brass's anesthetization and release. Interviewer, Dr. Robert Dorer. Interviewee, Mr. Brass, Person of Interest 386-121. Conducted July 20th, 2042. I'll be 42 by then. Notes, this interview was held in the Site 55 courtyard, because Mr. Brass is notably more cooperative when outdoors. Begin log. Dr. Dorer placed a handheld recorder on the bench between himself and Mr. Brass to start the interview. As the recording begins, sounds of Dr. Dorer seating himself can be heard, as well as mechanical clicks from Mr. Brass moving into a more comfortable position. In the background, running water can be heard. Dorer, Brass. There is a pause. Faint whirring can be heard, as well as breathing from Dorer. Well, Brass, let's start simple. How are you today? I'm doing well. Perfect. Any discomfort? Any new developments with your body? No. How about emotionally? Anything been bothering you? Anything we can help with? I'm doing well. Good, good. Well, Brass, you probably know by the record that I'm not just coming to check in with you today. It's really big news. This is our last interview. You're going to be released. Running wire can be heard. All mechanical sounds have ceased. A pause endures for 8 seconds. As of a month ago, the SCP Foundation has accepted an agreement proposed by the current Doctor of Entertainment, a Judy Appeal, if I remember correctly, to enter a more cooperative and peaceful relationship. Birdsong can be heard. Part of this relationship is that we're giving them, I don't like to call you this, but our skips. You're one of them. You're going home. Footsteps of someone passing by can be heard, as well as far off conversation. A pause endures for 12 seconds. Hang on. Jeez, why did I actually do that? Really? Really? Part of the agreement is that One Entertainment is going to go more mundane, make significantly less anomalous products in exchange for the Foundation ceasing to target their business practices. I think I heard that means the Little Misters are going to be able to perform more publicly. Less cloaks and daggers. Most of you can pass as anomalous individuals already, as long as no one touches you. You look like a street performer. I'm certain a little bit of a loud magic will make the illusion complete. Brief mechanical clicking is heard. A splash is accompanied by duck calls as ducks land in the water behind the two. A pause endures for 10 seconds. I'm not doing that again. Then Mr. Brass begins to come to the tune of I'm Mr. Brass from the Little Mister's first album. Brass? Are you alright? I'm doing well. A small pat can be heard as Dr. Dora puts a hand on Mr. Brass's shoulder. You're going home. Really? Really? Some mechanical sounds are heard. After 4 seconds, Mr. Brass resumes humming the Islanders for 18 seconds before Mr. Dora picks up a handheld recorder and ceases the interview. End log. Group of GOI 386 response. Mr. Brass first reappeared in Little Mister's album For Music's Sake, an educational album about the basics of music theory. Mr. Brass did not, however, play any instruments or sing, instead using the mechanical noises he makes while moving for percussion. This use of Mr. Brass continued for the next 3 albums, though during this time he did not make any public appearances. His first public appearance was in an outdoor concert on January 8, 2043, in Austin, Texas. The concert was partnered with New Shoes, a mundane charity supporting homeless youth. Mr. Brass revealed his new role in the band as a percussionist, moving his body in such a way as to make clicks and words to the beats of their songs. After intermission, however, Mr. Brass ceased to perform in the middle of a song called Chris Daily Walk. The rest of the Little Misters appeared to notice, but continued with the performance until Mr. Brass walked off the stage. At which point, Mr. Fish, person of interest 386-109, followed him. At the conclusion of the song, the other bandmates, Miss Sweetie, person of interest 386-1002, announced an unplanned intermission. The band proceeded backstage, and Miss Sweetie, who returned after 20 minutes, regretfully announced that the concert was being cut short. Attendees were informed that their tickets were refundable, but that all proceeds would go to charity. Mr. Brass has neither appeared publicly nor in an album since. Current status. Mr. Brass is known to reside somewhere in Wonderworld, though exact whereabouts are unknown. Current activities of the Little Misters are unknown. It is thought that Mr. Chameleon, person of interest 386-103, lives with Mr. Brass and potentially acts as a caretaker role. Dr. Who Entertainment has refused to give any further details on Mr. Brass. In 2044, the Little Misters has released the album Oxidized, which includes a song written by each member of the Little Misters, excluding Mr. Brass, in digital format. The final track is untitled. However, a pamphlet that comes with the CD a purchase reads. Wow! You've just purchased a disc from the amazing Little Misters! Oxidized is our longest album yet. About the existentialism of our own potential immortality, reflecting back on the lives we have led thus far. It is our most autobiographical album, with one song written by each of our members, even our manager and producer. Buy our whole discography and become a mixed collector. Buy a backstage pass at one of our shows and become Mixed Love. A-side, 01, Hot, 02, Soap, 03, Sweetie, 04, Money, 05, Hungry, 06, Shaping, 07, Mad, 08, Fish, 09, Lost, 010, Junior. B-side, 11, and Lie, 12, Laugh, 13, Chameleon, 14, The Moon, 15, Scared, 16, Forgotten, 17, Stripes, 18, Headless, 19, Oxidized Part 1, Life, 20, Oxidized Part 2, Death, 21, Brass. And that one's been crossed out. The Little Misters canon took a really unexpected turn. Anyway, that was SCP-629, also known as Mr. Brass from the Little Misters. If you like this video, please like on the video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow, or when I actually get back here. So until then, goodbye!